And we have to be more preventative. You don't want to get to the point where you're like 60 and it's like now you're in adult diapers, because those statistics, unless you like are really in this, you don't know. But there's actually adult diapers are outpacing baby diaper sales.
Yes, yeah,
Like
yeah,
they're growing
yes,
by leaps and
yeah,
bounds.
yeah,
And I don't know, but I'm not going to be
yeah.
wearing adult diapers. I'm just not.
Not
That is
ready.
not going to happen.
You're not ready.
Welcome to Delulu Magic, where we delulu our mindset and create the most magical version of our lives. I'm Paola.
And I'm Gabby, and we want to welcome everybody back, joining us to sit while we have conversations. I think I was just thought about how our logo, when it was getting created, I was like, yeah, we're creating conversations, and we're trying to cultivate compassion about a lot of topics that a lot of people don't really want to have. And today we have a really, I'm going to call it quirky one to bring in. Paula, we discussed about we want to kind of do some shows, talk about what we each have done, some of a little bit of our background, and this one was really, I think, hit the spot.
Hit the spot.
for us both. Paula has a lot of experience and background in some different things: aesthetics, lasers, medical field. And so today she's going to be sharing a lot more based on that knowledge.
Yes. And it's funny because Gabby was just reminding me of a time. So I've been in the aesthetics industry working with doctors for, God, probably like over 15 years. And one of the things that we focused on, I sold devices for sexual wellness or feminine rejuvenation. And it was crazy because so many women suffer from different things like dryness, laxity, not having like the high libido like they used to in their 30s, right, or in their 20s. But it's something that most people don't talk about. In fact, most women deal with these issues and they don't even tell their doctors. So it's really crazy. And I remember learning about all this in my early 30s.
You went to a lot. During that time, I remember you guys, because you and your husband were working with a big company, and then you were going to a lot of conferences and a lot of trainings, and before things got released, that's what it was.
Yeah.
And I specifically remember the story of like we were in my house in the living room. We were probably mid-30s, and you came and you're telling me, and I think some other friends might have been there, but you're explaining about, you guys, you don't know what's coming in our 40s, all this stuff. I had to see it. I in my head, honestly, I was like, no, girl, everything works. I don't need, what are you talking about? And you were like, no, it's traumatizing. You need to be kind of like prepared. But I didn't really comprehend it. I mean, I just thought it was really cool because you explained to us, and this was before really the public knew. It wasn't talked about. It was very taboo. It might still be right now, but it was very like nobody in the internet. Well, we obviously didn't have TikTok, didn't have all these resources to clue us in. So why don't you kind of tell us a little bit about, a few, I guess, do we want to talk?
Yeah.
You talked about the symptoms.
I just got some stuff done recently that I could definitely share. But yeah, I think we talk so much about perimenopause, right? That's your hormonal shifts. Like we all know about that. But it really, like, we don't have to feel like shit and we don't have to put up with it. It's not normal that you're just going to experience this and there are no solutions. So I think we need to normalize the fact that there are solutions out there. The fact is that they're just not talked about as often, right? And even it is crazy that even in like OBGYNs, which I would work a lot with OBGYNs, but the percentage of OBGYNs that are offering these solutions isn't even high. Like I would say not even 50% of OBGYNs are offering, let's say, hormonal therapy, like pellets for testosterone.
Oh, yeah. A lot of them, I remember because I started pretty early with that. But I remember we had to go, you were the one that told me what doctors did because everybody like then, mainstream or, whatever we'll call regular doctors were like, no, that's not going to be, and God forbid most men, they were like, you don't need that or doesn't work.
Exactly.
So, yeah.
Or even the devices that are out there. And it's because I think, again, maybe some physicians or just people out there normalize the fact that, oh, that just comes with aging. That's normal. Like, and I remember coming to you guys because it was crazy. I was in my 30s and I'm like, how is it that I've never heard? Obviously, you hear of perimenopause and the hormonal shifts, But everything else that happens down there, no one, and just the functionality, let's call it that, the functionality of like what starts to happen. So some of the things that really like stuck out to me was the fact you've had 4 kids, right?
Yes.
Normal delivery.
Yes.
I had 2 kids, C-section. But the fact that as women, like once you start getting to your late 30s, early 40s, women suffer from incontinence. That means what that means is leakage. So 50% of women out there, basically, you will leak a little bit like when you sneeze or when you cough.
Yeah.
Or you like super fit, you would be doing
Oh no,
CrossFit.
for me it was
I'm telling all your business,
mean,
my bad.
I know I can talk my story because that was after you told me, but I had 4 kids, vaginal deliveries. So obviously, that does a lot to a body.
Yes.
I exercised, I did everything correctly, got my body, whatever. And same, yeah, my story for that is very vivid because I remember I was like, that's not a problem I have, but incontinence or leakage, whatever. But I remember one time I was like on a Stairmaster and I had like, thank God I had black leggings on. And I was like, oh, my period must have come, because I feel like whatever. And it was not my period. And I remember crying like in the bathroom that I was like, are you effing kidding me? Like
Yeah.
I was probably 36. Yeah. And then I had to go to my doctor. Then, you have to go to a female urologist. And she's like, well, no, we have to lift everything up because it has like fallen.
Yeah.
Like the bladder, all these things. So I did have a procedure. I had the, like a sling. It wasn't the mesh. Yep.
Okay.
But it was a different one because at the time it was all those lawsuits were coming. Remember?
Yeah.
So that helped me. So I felt like that got me through, I'm going to say like 10 years, right? Because then by then there's been all these machines that you can kind of take over from there because that's an option, obviously, when you're younger, surgery, and if you have insurance. But it can be very much, you feel very like, I always, that made me like really feel like freaked out. I was like, what's happening to my body? I have no control. I am so young. Like I felt embarrassed and I didn't even want to talk about it. I mean, I told you guys by like at the last minute. I mean, I barely wanted to tell my husband.
It is. It's embarrassing to share. Like, hey, by the way, I'm like leaking. It makes you feel but old. You're like, what? I don't feel this age. I feel young. I look young.
Yes.
Why am I leaking? What is happening?
Don't make me laugh right now. I'm like, don't make me laugh.
And I experienced the same thing. I think it was a little bit after you, and I can't even remember exactly when, but it was just like it is embarrassing. And you kind of and it sucks because you feel it's nothing that you did. There's nothing wrong with you.
It's just anatomy.
But it is like this, you feel a little like ashamed. And so that is why so many women don't even tell their doctors. Like that's crazy. And there are solutions out there. One of them is like, so obviously like we should be out here doing Kegels, but nobody does that. I don't have time to sit here and do like 100 Kegels. I could probably,
What is not going to do 100 is not going to do a lot.
So there's devices out there that will do, will basically, you sit on the chair, and we're gonna have a specialist on here, and I think it'd be really cool so we can actually show some of this, in treatment, because it's important for people to know again that there are solutions. So like you could either do Kegels. There's so many different things. One of the 2 things I just got recently, right? Because it's important to me. It's like maintenance, just like we maintain, our appearance. We work out. Your vaginal area is also something you want to take care of. Your vajayjay, let's call it that, because so TikToks will repost that.
I know.
Start anything. And so one was the O shot. So that is basically, if you haven't heard of that, that stands for the orgasm shot, and it does not hurt. I was really scared to get it done the very first time I got it done, and the first time I got it done was probably about 8 to 10 years ago, and then I recently had one last week, and they numb you. So it's complete, like basically there's a bunch of numbing cream. And so you're not even really going to feel, it's like basically a little injection. And what they do is they usually take, like 2 things, either platelet rich plasma, which is your own blood. They basically draw blood, super easy. They spin it and they get the plasma, which is what's going to regenerate that area. It's going to help produce more blood flow. Like, right, when we talk about things for men like erectile dysfunction, we know these medicines help produce more blood flow to the area. Well, this is a natural way of doing it without needing like medication. Basically, it's just regenerating, helping produce more blood flow, better like nerve sensitivity, which is what you would need to improve like
collagen and all the elasticity, right? Like it helps to regenerate all that.
Exactly, because just like we age here and we lose collagen,
Yeah.
we lose collagen down there
Yes.
too,
Yeah.
right?
Everywhere.
And I think you had it done as
Oh my
well.
gosh. Yeah.
And I don't know how it felt for you, but for me, it was just like a little, the uncomfortable part. So there's numbing cream, then they do a little injection, which has like a numbing agent called lidocaine. You feel a slight tingly like burn level, like on a scale of 1 to 10, maybe it was like a 2. Like
Oh
it
yeah, yeah.
casts like
It's
this.
like my doctor was like, you just kind of grin and bear it for a few seconds.
Yeah,
That's it.
literally
I
a few
mean, and then
seconds.
you feel pressure, but
Yeah.
it's that's about it. It's not
It was, yeah, it was
super
really felt
uncomfortable.
like pressure. And then that was it. And basically you go home. I took it a little easy that day.
Hmm.
Like technically she was like, hey, you could even do whatever you need to do, whatever you want to do today. But I was like, I'm taking it easy today.
I'm resting. I'm resting the pelvic floor.
Yes. And then the other treatment I got done, which is a really cool one, it's called the MFEM. And it's a device. I know this is going to sound crazy to people. There's a bunch of different devices. Some that like they usually are all heat based. So you're going to feel some heat. Um, you don't even like need numbing cream for this, but it's going to help tighten, basically tighten the area. Again, improve blood flow. It helps with incontinence as well. It's like an 8-minute treatment. And what women see is, again, enhance. And I don't even think women are doing this necessarily to enhance. I don't really see a lot of like late 20s or early 30s coming in who are like, oh, I want enhanced orgasm or enhanced. We just want to almost go back to like, hey, what was the norm? Let's go back to baseline. What was it, when you were in your, late 20s, early 30s? So it helps with lubrication because that sucks. And so many women, like, or I think a lot of women get to a point where their libido isn't as high and they're not wanting to engage in sexual activity as much, right? Because it's not as comfortable. Also, we're really tired sometimes.
Well, yeah, and I think for us,
Hormones.
like especially for us that are, well, anybody that's in the perimenopause, I mean, that is one of the major symptoms. It's like dryness. Your eyeballs will be dry. Everything is dry. You don't understand, and then it can be very painful. Like you're even like I've noticed recently, like totally off topic, but like my skin feels dry and itchy and like kind of hurts. I'm like, what's happening? It's all from the hormones. But I am on hormones, so I do all that. That's another whole podcast. But yeah, dryness it will definitely, and besides being tired, you're just like, I don't want to deal with it. It's incredibly painful.
Exactly. And if you think about it, if people are dealing out in their 40s, it's kind of scary, at least for me, to be like, damn, what happens in your 50s and 60s? Like, are people...
You said it's not pretty.
Yeah.
Don't take care of it.
It's not. And we have to be more preventative. You don't want to get to the point where you're like 60 and it's like, now you're in adult diapers, because those statistics, unless you like are really in this, you don't know, but there's actually adult diapers are outpacing baby diaper sales.
Yes, yeah.
Like they're growing by leaps and bounds.
Yeah.
And I don't know, but I'm not going to be wearing adult diapers. I'm just not that is not going to happen.
You're not ready.
I'm not giving and so if there's tools that we can utilize that, give us that. And obviously I do think there's a part of like price, right? Not everybody can, get these treatments. But just like people save for vacations, I think women investing into their health. So it's like, hey, maybe you get this every 5 years, or even just like get it once. And it doesn't have to be both, or at least, get your hormones treated, test to see how your testosterone is. Because for me, I know that gave me a huge amount of like just the energy, right? Like being able to, like, if you're feeling kind of funky, sometimes depressed, like it may not be necessarily just like where you are mentally. Sometimes, a lot of times it is like hormonal. You're low on vitamin D, you're low on testosterone. And I think you're very well versed in like you're really good at like when like really going in deep and like studying.
Oh yeah, I did. I mean, well, since you like what I learned from you with going into having things that could help out, again, I was able to do them. So it is night and day if I'm not, treating the things. And this is like something, so I am like a person that now is like on, I would call it maintenance. I mean, I did have the surgery. That was my insurance did cover that because it was necessary. But after that, you gave me the doctor. So I done the MFM. And then I did the chair. That's called Emsella, which you sit in, and I mean, it's nothing invasive. You sit there, and that made a big difference because I was like, I'm not trying to have a surgery this year. Even if they keep telling me, I'm like, But all these are preventative. So it has given me like literally years back where I feel confident. I feel okay, like not everything's just going to downhill.
Going down, yeah.
Like all the gravity, like I'm like, please just keep it together.
And the MSL is really cool again because it is non-invasive. You get to keep all your clothes on,
Yeah.
which is really nice. Like some women, and I totally get that. Like it is a little, when you're doing the O shot, I would say it's just like going to the OBGYN for like a pap smear. You're like, okay, I'm just gonna, honestly, I'm gonna look away and like watch Netflix. Don't look ever. Like let's just
tune out.
Let's just get this done. But the MSLA, it's like doing 11,000 Kegels. You sit there, super easy. And if you think about it, we have all these muscles like surrounding like our pelvic floor and all and everything, and it's strengthening all those muscles. So you actually like get enhanced benefits of like, even for women that are a little older, like getting tired, like to get up, like you're strengthening all of that. So I think it's just so important for women to know, again, like that there's these so many solutions out there. So asking your provider and actually just seeking help, or even talking with your friends if it's something that you're keeping in, because everybody deals with it. And it is embarrassing, just like you know, or me. I don't think I would have been as open. I don't think I would have like been like, hey, I just, this happened to me, if I wasn't already in, like that. Yeah, I was like, oh, this is common.
Well,
People are naturally going
you
through
were
this.
very open about it. I mean, you did mention
I was like, I gotta tell everybody. I was like, you gotta warn. Public service announcement.
You did. It was. But I remember, like I said, I remember like the actual, I could close my eyes and be there. That I was like, oh, what are you talking about? No, that is not for us.
Yeah.
And here we are. It is for us.
It is for everybody. So again, not just for like the sexual side. I think it's just for like the you feeling normal side.
Yeah, feeling better.
Our vajays are not broken.
It's your health. It's just like we talked about before, like mental health. We want to talk also about our physical health, and as women, that how much we still don't talk about it. We have a lot of information, and we may see it and kind of retain a little bit about it, but we still feel a little bit of shame around having the conversations. I'm finding that I do sit in groups where a lot of people are more like, no, me too. Like, yes, this is what and then now we're kind of like, what have you tried? What have I done? What doctor are you seeing? What, who is more open to things? And that really feels good. And for me, seeing that, because I think I'm at a point where I know what to do, but there's a lot of people that don't.
Yeah.
So I really like, seeing that. And I honestly feel like I'm enjoying now sharing, kind of bringing people along.
Yeah.
Especially with the amount of knowledge you have in these specifically, it's definitely makes a difference.
It does. It does.
Sharing.
It just, I think it's life-changing once you get some of these procedures done. And you don't know until you know, like even in my 30s when I was selling these devices, right, or these products, and I would tell you guys, I understood anecdotally, like I'm like, okay, I'm reading these studies. I understand that, adult diapers are outpacing baby diapers. I understand what women are going through. But until you actually deal with it, right?
Yeah.
Until you're out there going for a nice little jog and you feel a little like leakage.
Or even if you're laughing, or like people that sneeze, like there's just like a whole nother level. Like, I mean, you feel it. I don't know if so both of us had situations happen with our ovaries.
Yeah.
That, mine was pretty young before I had my second child, but I had a cyst, but I caught it in time. And then I remember, that's another thing. How could I forget? My doctor, he was older, but he's like, how about we go ahead and lift up your uterus because it's tilted and all these things. And I remember I'm like, nobody has ever said any of this to me. I don't even understand what you're talking about, dude. Like a cyst. And he was like, it can, grow and all these things. And a lot of doctors like, let's just monitor it. This is, God, almost 20 years ago. But he was like, nope, take it out because you don't need it. And then after that, felt very different. My whole pelvic floor, we're going to call it, right? Like I had more strength.
Really?
Yeah, because he lifted my uterus was tilted. And some people are born like that. They don't even know. And I don't know. I don't know the medical terms. But then I remember when you went through it and yours did. So anyway, what I'm talking about is like now I have scar tissue.
Yeah.
When I sneeze, it will hurt where I have scar tissue there.
Yeah.
Because that just tells you that is your pelvic floor connected to the rest. That's me just sneezing that I feel it. So I can't imagine if I don't do these treatments, how much it affects, that and then or even the urgency
Oh my
on top
God,
of the
urgency
incontinent
is
urgency where you just can't hold anything down.
and honestly, like,
Yeah.
when again, when these devices came out, to me, that was, like, one of the biggest
Yeah.
benefits because I have, like, a squirrel bladder. I don't know. Like, I literally people, like, I would work with, they'd be like, "Okay, no, she's,
Go.
like, literally we've been in a meeting." I'm like, I gotta go again." And that also is also embarrassing for a woman. You're sitting there at a
Trying to
business
work.
meeting
Yeah.
with a bunch of men, and
Hmm.
you're like, over here, like, holding it, and then I'm like, "I gotta go." And, people start to notice. It just seems a little, like, odd. So for me, that was like super helpful. And we want to have, I think, definitely an OBGYN that's going to talk about
Hmm.
this. Want to bring on like a female urologist that's going to go over the benefits and really how everything functions. And I actually think it'd be kind of nice to provide like a list. Maybe we should, like, some of these doctors that do some of these
Oh
treatments
yeah,
so that
yeah,
we can
yeah.
have
That
a,
the doctors, like, I mean, I could. We both have practices we liked a lot here in Houston if you're local, and then a lot of them do telehealth now.
mm-hmm.
But I think it's definitely available. There's better now that it's more widely
Oh,
like
accepted
well
most,
and
yeah.
treated. Like there's more doctors doing it. It's not like where it's no, no, no.
And if it's an OBGYN that I think a lot of women, let's say they have their OBGYN, and if they don't offer it, I feel like going out, seeking the solutions outside of the OBGYN, because now it's not so much before, again, it was very in the aesthetic realm, like,
Yeah.
right, we all as women usually take care of our faces and we want to look great, right? All external. Just like, again, when we talk about like spirituality, like, right, sometimes you're looking for something, it's always external. Let me like look out here. But in this case, really is internal as well.
You want to take care. You want to take care of it because in the end, it makes you feel you do feel better, and you don't start carrying those negative beliefs and thoughts about yourself because you end up that causes
Internalizing.
also you internalize a lot of that shame or just the embarrassment,
Mhm.
and it's just years can go by and you don't realize how much it affects your mood, your life, and
Your relationship.
yeah, yeah.
Because if you're not, if that's not in a healthy place, right, that
Mhm.
that can affect it. Just, yeah, it affects your relationship. If you're already a overcritical person of yourself, like, I think,
Yes.
that can also really get to you because you do start to blame yourself. You start to think, oh, like, what can I do? Or if the relationship that you're in, if that person doesn't understand, it could just be
Mhm.
you're like in a very weird
And
spot.
and it can definitely the relationship part, like not just the physical part, but even like the emotional. Because if you're like keeping it in, you're already like because you feel embarrassed and you're
Mhm.
suppressing it, and your partner is not going to be able to know what's going on if you don't have the conversations.
Yeah.
And I'm guilty of it. I'm guilty of it like for years. That I'm like, oh God, no, how embarrassing. Like how, and I would cry. Like, how am I supposed to talk about this?
And also, it's like sex. As women, we should be enjoying, right?
Of
When we
course,
have like
as long
sexual,
as possible.
for sure.
Yeah.
And I think so many people think, oh, it's just like the functionality of it, but you should enjoy it. Both parties should enjoy it.
Yes.
So it improves, again, orgasms, it improves laxity. There's so many benefits for both
Well,
parties.
like you said earlier, but for men, it's everybody's like, it's fine. Yeah, he needs to get this done. He needs to do that. And nobody bats an eye.
I know. I feel like people should do it together. Like, then there's the pee shot for men,
Oh my
which
gosh,
also
Paula.
sounds really scary. If I were a man, I'm not gonna lie. But there's the pee shot, and then the both ways. It's either you use PRP, like platelet-rich plasma, or now there's a next level, which is even like showing better results, which is like exosomes. So it's basically taking the best of like out of the platelets, and you're seeing like even better results. So I would encourage everybody to like just ask their provider, ask for both, what they offer, and and compare and of course research. But the benefits outweigh anything. It does not hurt. Like any device that I've ever had done or any treatment, it hasn't been uncomfortable for me at all. I don't know about
And yeah, no.
yeah.
Yeah, you've always reassured me.
Yeah, they're non-invasive. Like obviously the only thing that I've ever had like that was surgical was when I had the cyst and I actually had to, get that removed and they took an ovary and everything. And that's when I really started feeling a lot of the hormonal shifts.
Yeah,
After
of course.
that,
They took an ovary in like a tube. I mean, that was like a
yes,
crazy. Like, how could you? I mean, yeah. I don't know how you've done it this long.
that was insane. Yeah. Also, yeah, women just like watching when they do have any cysts is so important.
Yeah, and we just preventative care. Try to make sure you get to your appointments and all this. There is things that there's more you could do. So I would definitely keep what Paula said. Ask, go, search,
Yeah.
find answers. We'll be here. We're going to try to provide, and we will have, experts come on and talk to us about all of these things and
Yeah.
other stuff, right?
And then DM us if you have any questions, since we're going to have some experts on. DM us if there
So
are
we
any
would.
questions about O shots or some of these non-invasive like vaginal rejuvenation devices. Feel free to ask questions and we can ask them anonymously when those experts
When
come
they are
on.
here, yeah. So remember, nothing changes unless you do.
So stay Delulu and make it happen.
Don't forget to subscribe. See you next time.